Today we will be adding and subtracting polynomials. A monomial is an expression that is a number, a variable, or a product of a number and one or more variables. So for instance, a monomial might be the number 5. Another example of a monomial might just be a variable, maybe it is x. And lastly, it could be a product of a number or one or more variables. So that would be like 15x, maybe even 15xy. That is a monomial because it has one term. Degree of monomial is the sum of the exponents of its variables. So for instance, this does not have any variables, so it is the degree 0. This has one variable with an exponent of 1, so it is of the first degree. And 15xy, there's a 1 on the x, there's a 1 on the y, so that makes it a second degree monomial. So again, a monomial is an expression that only has one term, but it could be different degrees depending on the exponents of its variables. An example of example 1 is asking you to find the degree of the monomial. Remember, if there's no exponent, the exponent is 1, so this is a first degree. Here we have 2 and 3, and it's the sum of that, so this is a fifth degree monomial. And this does not have a variable at all, so that is a 0 degree monomial. A polynomial is a monomial or the sum or difference of two or more monomials. So this time, if there's more than one term, it's called a polynomial. The degree of the polynomial, this is different than how you found monomial. A polynomial in one variable, so if there's only one variable, is the same as the degree of the monomial with the greatest exponent. So it would be that of the biggest exponent. The standard form of a polynomial, it has degrees of the monomial terms decrease from left to right. So it goes biggest to smallest according to its exponents. So if I look at this next one, this is a polynomial because it has two terms. The degree, the biggest exponent is 1 here, so it's a first degree polynomial. The name using this degree, any first degree polynomial, is called a linear expression. The number of terms in this case is 2. 7x is one term and 4 is one term. And because there are two terms, it is called a binomial. This next one, the largest exponent is 2, so it's the second degree. You notice here it is in standard form because it goes exponent 2, then 1, then none. So that is in order from greatest to least. Because it's the second degree, that is called a quadratic. The number of terms here are 3. 3x squared is 1, 2x, and then 1. So if you notice, they are separated by positive signs in this case, or plus signs. They could also be divided up by minus signs or negative signs. Because there are 3 terms, this is called a trinomial. The next one has an exponent of 3, so it's the third degree, which makes it a cubic expression. It has one term, which makes it a monomial. On this one, the biggest exponent is 4, so it's a fourth degree, which is exactly what it's called. The name of it is fourth degree, so anything bigger than 3 is just going to be using the number and then the word degree. Number of terms, there are 2 terms, which again makes it a binomial. Our last one here is simply the integer 5, which means it's a 0 degree. A 0 degree is called a constant. It's just one constant number. number of terms is 1, which means it is a monomial. The next part wants you to write the polynomial in standard form and then name it based on its degree and its number of terms. So remember to be in standard form. Exponents go from greatest to least, so negative 2x plus 5. The thing I would caution you on is to make sure that you see the division here. 5 is the first term, negative 2x is the second term, so you have to take the signs with the term. If I look here, I have an exponent of 1, which makes this a linear. It has 2 terms, so it's a linear binomial. Our next one, the exponent, if I notice here, these terms are like terms, so I need to combine them first. 3x to the fourth plus 5x to the fourth, they are like terms because they have the same variable with the same exponent. Gives me 8x to the fourth. The next highest exponent is the 2, so I have 2x squared, and finally I have minus 4. So then if I go ahead and name it, according to the exponent of 4, it means it's a fourth degree. It has 3 terms, so it's a fourth degree trinomial. Our last one here, again, if I look at my terms, this currently has 3 terms, but 2 of them are like terms, so I'm going to go ahead and put those together. Gives me negative 4v plus 8. The biggest exponent is 1, so that's linear, and it is a binomial. Go ahead and let's turn our page. We have 2 more examples. We are going to actually now begin to add and subtract them. So first of all, we're going to add polynomials. You can either choose to do this vertically or horizontally. When you add polynomials, you are combining like terms basically, which remembers they have the same variable with the same exponent, or you can stack them vertically, or you can just go ahead and do it horizontally. I like to stack them so I can match up the ones that are like terms. We are adding them, so I get 6x squared minus 3x plus 8. You could have done the same thing just going vertically, but I like to see it horizontally. So my answer there when this is simplified is this. I have no like terms to combine because this has an exponent of 2, this does not, this has an exponent of 1, and this does not have a variable. So I don't have any more like terms to combine, so that means I am done. The next example is subtracting. If students make mistakes on subtracting, it's simply to do with the sign. So again, I'm going to stack them. I'm going to put my minus sign out front so I remember to subtract. I have 1, not sure why it jumped over there, 1x cubed minus 8x squared plus 11, but I can't write that plus 11 under there because that has an x, so there's nothing there, so plus 11. 2 minus 1 is 1x cubed, or just x cubed. 5 minus a negative 8, so positive 13x squared. Negative 3x minus, there's nothing here that has an x, so that's minus 0. So it stays the same as negative 3x. There's nothing up here, so 0 minus 11 is negative 11. So just I caution you to be careful on your signs. This is in standard form now because it goes biggest exponent to smallest exponent. There's no more like terms, so you are done. Please do the quick checks and then look at the schedule for your assignment for this part.